Coming up on The Reveal, an Atlanta man with a medical emergency begging for help in police custody for hours.
This man is a walking time bomb, and they put him in a cell and left him there.
A detention facility with a history of complaints.
I got an idiot over here playing games. He's trying to get to the hospital.
A sheriff's attempt to keep evidence secret calls for an investigation.
You have to go! You have to go!
And a potential solution to regain the public's trust.
This is really about making sure the jails run safe and making sure that people have a chance to have their day in court.
A special edition of The Reveal, Believe Them, starts now.
Welcome to The Reveal. I'm Andy Perotti. We come to you from inside a Georgia detention center, where tonight's investigation centers on an Atlanta man who died in police custody, repeatedly heard screaming that he could not breathe. Instead of taking him to the hospital, the Cobb County Detention Center put him in a padded room to die. The medical examiner's office ruled his death natural, but evidence we uncovered shows his death could likely have been prevented.
Infirmary vet speaking, may I help you?
We have a guy named Wingo Cavell. He has been throwing up for a while now since we came on shift.
You seen it?
Yes, ma'am. I've seen him throwing up.
From the moment he stepped inside the Cobb County Jail, nearly everyone thought Cavell Wingo was sick. Everyone, that is, except those who needed to believe him the most.
I'm sending you one down. He's on the way. He's like laying on the floor screaming. He's sweating. He says he's got abdominal pain. He can't fake this.
Video recorded inside the jail in September 2019 has no sound, but interviews conducted by investigators with deputies and nursing staff paint a picture of what happened the night Wingo died.
He was asking for help. He was standing at the glass, repeatedly asking for help, and he could not breathe. And he had actually fell backwards onto the floor and had crawled to the window and was asking again, begging for help, and he could not breathe.
When he yelled at me, or he was yelling in the subway, he said, "I need to go to the hospital. I can't breathe." I talked to him for a minute, and I was like, "But if you're hollering, you are breathing."
So once he banged on the door, he fell back, because I'm assuming he couldn't breathe. I saw him fall back.
It started just before midnight on September 28th, when a deputy transferred Wingo to the infirmary after complaining of severe abdominal pain caused by an ulcer. Wingo was in custody for drug possession.
He was saying, "I'm not going to make it. I'm finna fall out the wheelchair." And I was kind of like, telling him, like, "No, you're going to be all right. We're almost there."
Records show for more than 7 hours, the 36-year-old father of 3 repeatedly begged to be sent to the hospital. Jail video shows him collapsing in his cell at least 5 times. A charge nurse named Annalene Visser said she believed Wingo was detoxing and only wanted to go to the hospital because he was drug seeking. She refused to take his vitals or allow anyone else to do it.
Me and the secretary, Tiana Bose, asked the charge nurse, Annalene, hey, he's asking for help. Can we help?
Yeah.
She said no.
The charge nurse then requested deputies send Wingo to a padded isolation room. After growing tired of hearing him complain, he was slowly dying.
Hi, do you have a pad open? I got an idiot over here playing games. He's trying to get to the hospital, so he's just playing around.
When a deputy opens his cell, Wingo collapses to the floor. It takes a deputy 9 minutes to pick him up. When he's put inside the padded room, they strip him of his clothes, leave 2 cups of water inside, and close the door. Jail policy requires staff to look inside isolation rooms every 15 minutes.
Did you look in the cell door?
Yes.
Did you look in the window?
Yes.
But the jail video shows that's not what happened. When it's time to check on Wingo, the deputy never looks inside 2 different times. A short time later, Wingo is found cold to the touch, not breathing, dead at 9:51 in the morning. Tiffany Wingo is Cavell's sister.
At the end of the day, I feel like he shouldn't have died like that. Like, he died alone. He died in the room screaming for help, and he asking y'all for help. And then at the end, y'all try to give him help, and which it was too late.
Kiara is Wingo's daughter.
How could so many people sit around and just watch somebody suffer like that and not help?
The charge nurse claims she never heard staff say Wingo couldn't breathe, and she didn't check his vitals because he was rowdy.
Explain rowdy. He was loud, he was, I don't know what he was saying. He was just disruptive.
Timothy Gardner is the family's attorney.
He wasn't loud, he wasn't disruptive, he was in pain. She also claims that he was fighting other inmates. He wasn't fighting other inmates, he was fighting for his life. And she chose to even observe that.
Not even sheriff investigators believe the charged nurse.
You said that if somebody's acting out, you don't take their vitals. But we've seen the video, and I've yet to see him throughout the video acting out at all.
This past June, the sheriff's department concluded its investigation, finding no crime committed or jail policy violated. The medical examiner ruled his death natural, caused by a perforated gastric ulcer. No drugs found in his system.
At the end of the day, they just didn't care. There was nothing he could have done to make them care. It's who they are. It's criminal, quite honestly. If you're entrusted to care for someone, just like if you had to care for an elderly parent or a child, and you failed to care for that person when they were telling you they were sick, and then you chose to put that person in a corner in a closet and ignore their cries for help despite the clear signs that these people were in distress, and they died, then you're going to be held accountable. That's a crime. And their behavior makes you question not only their responsibilities as nurses and sworn officers, but as human beings.
Next, on The Reveal, a fresh pair of eyes looks into Wingo's medical response and the history of complaints involving the sheriff and his jail.
This is a reputation county. It has a reputation of if you are of an ethnic background, don't get caught in Cobb County.
A civil rights organization wants a criminal investigation into Cavell Wingo's death and others who have died at the jail. We have the sheriff's response. But first, we asked an expert to take another look at the medical response that failed Mr. Wingo.
And within a couple of seconds, he just broke out in a big sweat. They're looking at us like he's just detoxing. We're like, no, you need to come get him.
Nearly a dozen fellow inmates sounded the alarm when they saw Cavell Wingo sick.
What happened was the guy was in pain and nobody took him serious. He was laying on the ground crying for help and nobody took him serious.
It's like he said, I have abdominal pain, I'm vomiting, I'm nauseated, and I have an ulcer. And they went, so what?
When Claire Teskey first saw video of Wingo begging for help inside the Cobb County Jail infirmary, she felt confident the 36-year-old was not faking his pain.
I like to say I've seen it all.
Teskey is a registered nurse with 40 years of experience, half of it managing correctional medical units in California. 11 Alive asked her to review Wingo's case.
This man is a walking time bomb, and they put him in a cell and left him there. That's pretty disturbing.
Teskey says the first sign Wingo needed immediate help is when he arrived by wheelchair complaining of an ulcer.
I can tell you that if that man had come in front of me in the infirmary, I would have probably had somebody take his vitals. I would have checked him, but I'd also have called an ambulance. I would have sent him out right then.
Two other issues caught her eye. A nurse playing card games on the computer for hours while Wingo pleaded for help. The other, when he collapsed outside his cell.
Nurses were sitting back behind the nurse and the desk. Three of them were sitting there. Not one of them got up and went around to see if that man was okay. I wouldn't have an employee like that.
At the time, WealthStar Health System operated and staffed the jail's infirmary. In emails to 11 Alive, the company initially wrote it was unaware of any specific details or claims around these events until after 11 Alive shared its findings. 12 days later, WealthStar wrote back to say, what we have seen and learned of Mr. Wingo's experience at the detention center is heartbreaking and unacceptable. More should have been done. But concerns about Wingo's care isn't the only complaint about the jail or WealthStar.
In the past 13 months, 6 inmates have died while in custody inside the Cobb County Jail.
Since 2004, The Reveal has uncovered at least 50 inmates who have died at the detention center. Over the past few years, the public growing more aware and outraged after each death.
At this town hall meeting organized by ACLU Georgia, family and friends and attorneys of inmates demanding answers.
It is unconstitutional. It should not be this way.
We've got to do something.
Doreen Grimes is president of the Cobb County NAACP. She wants a criminal investigation launched into Wingo's death.
There's too many cases that are so familiar to Mr. Wingo's case that it's long overdue. And the spotlight and the attention to the Cobb County Detention Center needs to be shined bright.
It's a problem she believes is rooted in the county's history with its communities of color.
This is a reputation city, county, that has a reputation of if you are of an ethnic background, don't get caught in Cobb County.
Cobb County Sheriff Neil Warren oversees the jail. He declined repeated interview requests, but in a statement to the Reveal, he stands by his deputies and the care provided to Wingo. He writes, "At the end of the day, we are law enforcement officers, not medical professionals. For this reason, I have always made it a priority to contract with the best healthcare providers available in hopes of giving inmates access to the same caliber of doctors and nurses that they would see if they were not in our custody."
Hi, do you have a pad open? I got an idiot over here playing games. He's trying to get to the hospital, so he's just playing around.
I mean, you watch that video and it's the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen.
Next, on The Reveal, a potential solution to regain the public's trust and evidence about an inmate the sheriff tried to keep secret from the public before an election.
I worry about him. He's my youngest because he's threatening to hurt himself.
A Georgia lawmaker proposes an idea to help regain the public's trust in response to our Reveal investigation, and we uncover more evidence of questionable inmate care the sheriff attempted to conceal from the public.
Kelly.
Is this Cobb County Sheriff First?
It is.
A concerned father calls the Cobb County Jail in 2019, warning staff his son, Bradley Emery, could potentially hurt himself.
I've got a son out there, and since he's been in there, I've had to call out there several times and have him on suicide watch because he's threatening to hurt himself.
From the day he arrived at the detention center, staff knew Emery had attempted suicide in the past. One of them noting in a report, Emery advised that he cut his wrist a couple of months ago when his wife threatened to leave. The 33-year-old father suffered from mental illness related to a traumatic brain injury. His family says the jail knew that. At the time, Emery was in custody for drug possession.
He was a troubling inmate. He had issues, family issues.
On Valentine's Day 2019, jail staff found a rope made out of a torn mattress cover inside Emery's cell. He told the deputy who found the rope, "I'm going through with it." Emery's father continued to raise red flags about his son's mental health.
I worry about him. He's my youngest.
According to jail records, staff placed Emery under close observation at least 2 different times for threatening to hurt himself. Each time he was allowed to return to the general population after signing a contract promising not to kill himself. Soon after, a fellow inmate found Emery in the shower with a bedsheet tied around his neck.
278 and it started single floor. There's no pulse.
So I looked in the shower, I noticed a foot. I seen that inmate Emery had hung himself with a sheet.
Don Emery?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is Major Atkins with the Cobb County Sheriff's Office.
Hey.
Okay, Bradley Emery's your son, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's been a medical incident with Mr. Emery, and he's at the hospital at Cobb General.
Emery died 3 days later. While sheriff investigators said its staff did nothing wrong, there's no video of Emery or anyone responding because the jail has no security cameras in the pod where he was detained, and the closest camera nearby happened to be turned off. Emery's family says the detention center did not do enough to keep him safe.
I loved him to death.
James is Emery's brother.
You know, they'd put him on psych watch, and within hours, they'd let him back out.
How about that, folks?
Sheriff Neil Warren, who runs the jail, did not respond to interview requests. Instead, it tried to stop the reveal from obtaining Emery's records. A judge later ordered the sheriff to produce the documents after the Reveal filed a lawsuit against him, claiming the sheriff violated the state's Open Records Act in an effort to shield thousands of public and potentially damaging records from disclosure in an election year.
Under the leadership of Sheriff Neil Warren,
Emery joins a list of hundreds of inmates who have died inside Georgia County jails. The number of deaths in Cobb County on par with similar-sized facilities, but the total number in the state unknown because Georgia's 159 counties are not required to report how many people die behind bars to any governing agency. The state has no idea how often people are dying in jails.
No, not that I'm aware of.
This is our interview in 2018 with Bain Rich, a spokesperson for the Georgia Bureau of Investigation about the issue. 2 years later, nothing has changed. Do you see benefits in tracking how many people are dying in county jails in Georgia?
Yes, I can see the benefit of measuring that to see what the numbers are and compare those year after year, and also with our neighboring states.
Of the 4 largest county jails in Georgia, 217 inmates have died since 2004. Only one of those deaths investigated by an outside agency. The rest, sheriff's staff cleared themselves of any wrongdoing. State Representative David Wilkerson wants to change that.
It should be investigated by a separate party.
In response to our Reveal investigations, Wilkerson plans to introduce legislation that would require outside independent investigations into all future jail fatalities.
So if this is really about making sure the jails run safe and making sure that people have a chance to have their day in court, then you'd want that independent investigation.
Days after his son's death, Emery's father called the jail begging for answers.
Can I get someone that's got some answers? After I put him on suicide watch, and y'all guaranteed me you were going to watch him every 15 minutes. My son's dead.
Next on The Reveal, Cavell Wingo's death triggered our original Reveal investigation. After months of pleading for accountability, a district attorney makes a surprise announcement.
You have to go! You have to go! You have to go! You have to go!
Nearly a year after Cavell Wingo's death, a district attorney takes action.
You have to go! You have to go!
Within feet of the Cobb County Jail, Cavell Wingo's son holds a picture of his late father, who died begging for help inside. Tiffany Wingo is Cavell's sister.
All I want is justice for my brother.
Wingo's family, the NAACP, the ACLU, and State Representative David Wilkerson, all demanding Cobb County District Attorney Joyette Holmes launch a criminal investigation into his death.
Everyone ignored his cries for pain. That has to stop.
This past September, the district attorney makes a stunning announcement, writing in a statement that the jail video uncovered by The Reveal should be part of an independent investigation into Mr. Wingo's death. It is for this reason that I have asked the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia to conduct an independent investigation of the recent inmate deaths at the Cobb Adult Detention Center.
I mean, clearly there's criminal negligence. We all see it on the tape.
Cindy Yeager is a former assistant Cobb County DA.
The fact that the family has had to hold rallies and literally beg for the attention of the district attorney, beg for the attention of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is atrocious.
Hurdle after hurdle after hurdle.
Weeks after the DA requested a federal investigation, Wingo's family and community organizers met outside the Cobb County Courthouse.
Frederick Thurman, age 36.
Reading the names of all 50 inmates who have died inside the detention center.
Thomas Behard, 62, white male.
All is not well, okay? All is not well. There is ample amount of evidence that indicates that for many of them, their deaths could have been prevented.
2 nurses who worked the night Wingo died have been put on administrative leave. Representative Wilkerson plans to file his legislation early next year. Thank you for watching The Reveal, the only local weekly investigative show in the country. Good night.